been experiencing a lot of weird stuff with this going on recently, where dudes will make guard their women when I'm around, and I'm not even interested in these women, man. Like, I know that they're in relationships, and I know that if she would leave that man for me, then she's gonna leave me for somebody else. So if you have to mate guard, you're basically already lost in regard to the relationship. You know, and this comes to a very poignant point in which how we can keep relationships as men with full sacks healthy. Because it's like, you know what it is? The man with the full sack, he doesn't need to mate guard. He doesn't desire to, because he just trusts that he's given his woman enough freedom. If she wants to, she's free to go. She doesn't have to stay around. But he's not going to tolerate any disrespectful behavior if she does, and then she just expects him to just, you know, take her back with open arms and all that. Like, that's not how this works. The man with a full sack has utmost respect for himself, and he lives his life in such a way that he embodies godlike mastery. He has mastery over his physical. He has mastery over his emotional. He has mastery over his intellectual. He has mastery over his spiritual, because he understands that he is operating on a regal timeline narrative. Why would a man with a full sack ever worry about his woman leaving? This is the thing. It's like, and this is one of the reasons why many men with full sacks are single, because they see the women, and women are just not capable of being committed nowadays. They're just not, generally speaking. And I know generalizations are not for everybody, and every woman wants to believe that she's the exception, and that's fine. But the thing is that's just not the truth. The truth is that we men have gotten to a point to where we have become the Aristotelians of the modern day time. Like, we are modern Aristotle embodiments. And the reason being is because there's no form of ethics that will be compromised to the man with a full sack. He's just not going to be compromised. He's not going to compromise his own standards or his values for the sake of a woman. Okay, that's not going to happen. And he's not going to, you know, disregard or put women down either. It's not really about that, though. It's about these depleted coomers. They coom daily, and they are so obsessed with trying to keep their woman that they're living in scarcity mentalities. Like, that's what I think mate guarding is really all about. They're in scarcity mode, man. It's like, how do I say this? Scarcity mentalities will prohibit you from seeing the truth of who you really are, number one, on a spiritual level, and number two, it'll stop you and hinder you from seeing your own divine beauty and other people's divine beauty. I mean, you can look at my face right now. You can see, like, me right here, right now. We are participating in a soul-to-soul interaction. This is how my soul wants to express itself in the spirit of the time. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk about this, and I'm going to express this, and I'm going to have this resonate with the people who resonate with it, because I'm emitting a signal of pure sovereignty in which I am unmoved and unfazed by these parasitic and, like, here's the thing. I don't want to say that, oh, they're parasites. I want to say these are beings who are acting in a parasitic way, because I don't see people as, like, evil anymore. I don't see them as derogatory, degenerate beings anymore. I see them as people who are suffering unnecessarily. And it's a lot of these guys who have to feel like they have to resort to mate guarding. Like, some of these dudes, they will try to delete you if you're just being who you are, man, like, and being respectful. There was one time a couple years ago when there was this woman at the gym, and granted, like, she was reasonably attractive, but I knew she was, she had a seductive spirit. And it's like, I don't want to say she had one, because it's like, she had a spirit enter into her. It's like, no, it's coming from her. Like, it's coming from her. And, like, the spirit world isn't outside of you. The spirit world is inside of you. And so, she was absolutely and unequivocally this seductress whore type of energy. And I had compassion for her. And so I went over to her. I said, look, I notice you looking at me, but I also noticed that wedding ring on your hand. Because she had a wedding ring on her hand. And then she got like super, I cannot believe, like, I am happily married. That's why you keep staring at me like a piece of steak. And that's why you keep doing this. No, that's not what it is. And she, to this day, I don't see her very often, but to this day, if I'm out and about, she will purposefully try to, like, get my attention. Now, what happened after that, though, like a week later, because this was like 2 years ago, right? A week later, I was just grabbing some weight from this place, nearby, and this dude says, hey, were you the guy that talked to my wife about her ring? I said, yeah, I guess so. Like, what about it, right? Like, what about it? And he was like, if you talk to her again, I'm going to kick your ass. Dude, like, I didn't even, like, I was the one that respected the boundary here. Like, this is crazy, because she was going after me for months, okay? And I knew she had that wedding ring, and so I didn't want to do anything about it. But this guy who was so insecure, and in the moment, like, I didn't see his divinity, because I was still, like, when he started to threaten me, I got super upset. Like, I kind of laughed in the situation, but, like, afterward, I was like, I was pissed. I was so angry. I was like, what the hell is this guy doing? Like, what does he think? I did him a favor. Like, I exposed this woman for who she really was. And now, in retrospect, I no longer see this as something that is, like, righteous of what I did. The righteous thing wouldn't have even been to, address the woman anyway, because she's not going to change. Like, those types of women are not ready for change. And compassion, this is where compassion can become, like, you realize compassion is part of the game. It's part of the game of life. And, this is where, like, Kierkegaard was a philosopher from centuries ago, and he talked a lot about being a knight of faith. And in the moment, I genuinely thought that I was being like a knight of faith, talking to this woman and saying what I did. And yet, when it came down to it, I was really just thinking about, it's them. Rather than seeing them as one with me, I was still thinking about them as them, rather than it's us. Like, this is an us thing. Like, I want to have a culture where we are no longer focused on the lack or the scarcity, because we're so abundant. I mean, look at where we're living for most of us in the Western world. I mean, really anywhere. We live such abundant lives, and yet it seems like so many people have deluded themselves to believe that we're not abundant as we are. We're not as blessed as we really are. And I know this because I've experienced this myself, and I've seen the ways in which society programs you to just think that you're stuck. And society will, and when I say society, I really mean like the whole system, the whole shebang. And people, like, there's not this playfulness to life anymore. Like, dudes who have to mate guard, have you ever noticed how they lack playfulness? They lack this sense of playfulness to them. They don't really know how to just be creative and play like a child, you know. They're so stuck usually. Now, I'm not saying that, like, I don't want to use these terms, but they're the best terms that we have to kind of describe what's happening. So, like, beta males are usually going to be the ones to make guard. Now, does that mean that it's like a bad thing to make guard? Not necessarily, because it depends on the context, right? It depends on what's going on. And the woman, if she's actually like your woman, let's say, like she is one with you in the relationship, then she's not going to entertain these guys. Like these women that will talk to dudes for like 5-10 minutes at a time and you know, explore the flirtatious options and such, that's not okay when it comes to a committed relationship. Now, if you don't want to be committed, then that's fine. Just don't say you're in a committed relationship and then go do these things. Like, it goes the same thing with men, right? Men, if you want to be in a committed relationship, that's fine. Just don't act like you're not in one and then say you are, because the first thing you're doing is lying to yourself. And the second thing that you're doing is lying to other people, and you're generating unnecessary suffering for no real reason. Now, I have had the great fortune of experiencing many emotional love affairs. Now, when I say love affairs, I don't necessarily mean like affair as in I was trying to, you know, be adulterous or fornicate with a woman. I was simply enjoying the woman for who she is. And honestly, it's like after a while, women just unless they're like integrated and they have their animus integrated or their shadow integrated, they're just, at least to some degree, they're not really interesting to talk to. It's like talking to a guy who only knows basketball or football or soccer, or I guess some people watching this will, they see soccer and football as the same. I'm an American, so we're weird like that. But yeah, I mean, it's just, it would be like talking to a guy that only knows that stuff. Now, there's a time and a place where that's beautiful. You know, there's a time and a place where that's not necessarily like a bad thing. It's just, I don't want to not meet people where they're at. Like, I'm totally capable of doing that. That's part of the godlike mastery practice, right? Is being able to just meet people where they're at and just be with them. You know, again, don't see them as like oh, that's them being this way. It's like, no, it's that is a being who is part of the whole, the soul of existence, acting in a way, but I still see that's another fellow soul. That's another fellow soul. And you can get caught up in the separateness that you actually degrade your own sense of being with these people, because you're so focused and so concentrated on the rigidity of the separateness that you forget that you're still like, you're still you too, man. Like, you're part of them and they're part of you, and we're all sharing this common life, whether we kind of want it to or not. I mean, this is just the way that it is. And we just have to trust that we were, you know, put in this reincarnation, let's say, or this incarnation, however you want to describe it. I'm not saying I adhere to this. I'm just not saying I don't. I'm just saying, you know, help. Sometimes there's words that just better articulate the situation. and the predicament that we're in. And so we just have to trust that this incarnation, we're doing everything that we can to the best of our ability. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with just accepting who and what we are for how we are. All right? So when you notice this as a man with a full sack, when you're seeing that men are mate guarding, forget the word try. When you see a man mate guarding his woman, let's say, and you're around and you can tell that there's like a jealous or envious energy, see if you can see their soul. See if you can just be there with the other soul. And that's the godlike mastery practice for you, is just being, just to be, not to try to be anything else, or not to try to be this or to aim to be that, just to be. Okay? So see them for the soul that they are, and acknowledge that's who they are, and that's who they're choosing to be in the spirit of the time. That doesn't mean that that's how it's always going to be. That doesn't mean that, like this guy that, told me that he was going to kick my ass, which I don't know if he would have, but, he was a pretty big guy. But I'm not flaunting here, but I do have a black sash and a black belt in Northern Shaolin Kung Fu, and I do practice, I do practice my forms and my kicks and my punches and everything. I'm not like, but I do this not to actually fight. I'm doing this so I don't have to, right? So it's kind of like to jujitsu the energy that they're putting out. And so, I just told him that we were clear basically, and I wasn't going to talk to her again, and I still haven't. But this is like, women like this, they live for the drama. They want to have men fight over them because that's how they feel like they get power. Okay? And the only way to win is to just not play in those kinds of situations. And it's not even about winning. Okay? It's not even about winning. It's just about how do we decrease the unnecessary suffering? Okay, that we can. How can we relieve some of this unnecessary suffering? And that's really the aim here, especially for godlike mastery. Speaking of which, if you're interested in applying for my godlike mastery offer, check out the link in the description box or the comment section. This is specifically if you have the financial resources and the time and the energy to commit to something like this for 3 months. Okay, because that's part of the offer. And otherwise, check out the Regal Academy, where we have integration of the shadow class that I just put out just a couple weeks ago. We have weekly group calls, and then I just completed a mobile independent psychology class that is now available in the Maps of the Psyche classroom, because there's like different classes like in the community that you can go and explore. And so I've built the architecture and the structure, and now you can go explore it however you would desire. And with that being said, also, just stay blessed, be blessed, and peace be with you until next time.